Life is, what do I want? What do I think? What do I believe is possible? And from the belief comes your discipline. From the discipline comes the simplicity. From the simplicity, you're removing all the distractions, and the only thing that matters is you getting where you gotta go. That's it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we are live. Bruce Buffer. Go ahead, John.
Bruce Buffer shout out, yeah.
Oh, come on. I thought you were going to do it.
Man, I can't do that.
And you know the podcast is brought to you by MaxEffortMuscle.com, Boston Sword and Tuna. John, have you been ordering any salmon lately?
I've been ordering lobster, crab, and our boy Mike Scola dives into the Boston Harbor to get it himself. So check it out. Shop.bsdseafood.com.
And of course, you better download Robinhood because there's no trading fees, John.
And in the Orange County Airport, all your bins now are Robinhood. I just noticed
you said that. That's good.
They're making big moves.
So
Cory.
make sure you guys go to biceps.robinhood.com and you can get a free share of stock of Apple, Ford, or Sprint. All right, so we're here at the Spot Athletics. We're live. It's been 1 year since we've done this. And, you know, what's interesting about the Arnold Classic is I started going to the Arnold Classic in 1999. And I reflect each year on what's happened from the previous year. It's like a evaluation for me. And so we were talking a little bit that I think it'd be cool for us to share kind of since we've been together, what's kind of happened in our lives, and then we'll start to hear from you guys. So John, since the last Business and Biceps, talk about the whirlwind that we've been doing business-wise and personal too.
Yeah, I think a year goes by so fast, but it's such a long time. And if you are a goal-oriented person or you're just looking to make positive changes in life, you can't get caught up in the fact that it goes by so fast, because you have to segment your months, your weeks, your days, and you have to focus on the people that are important, the work that's important, and how you're developing yourself. So if I look at last year, what we did compared to now, on the personal side, I have a great girlfriend, Abby. She's sitting in the front row.
Abby.
Okay, I never.
Yeah. John has a steady girlfriend. It's a big deal. You caught him. It's impressive.
I'm serious though. I never allowed myself to be serious with somebody because I thought it would break down and just kind of defeat my success. And maybe it probably was her that made me realize that that's bullshit. It's fake, and that's something that I tell myself to make myself feel comfortable pushing people away so I could just focus on business and grow it and grow it and grow it. Well, you can grow a business as much as you want, and you can make as much money as you want, but if you're doing it alone, it's lonely, and that's life. And I figured that out in this time frame, and I'm blessed to have a person in my life, professionally, a person that I love. Professionally, you know, when you work with good people, good things happen. It may sound really basic, but I think we all have ideas and things we want to achieve in life, and that's great. But when you partner up with people that are like-minded, number one, it's so hard to find. But if you can find them, like me and Cory coming together. I'm talking about Cory Gregory. Yeah, Cory Gregory. Yeah. And Maurice for this podcast. You will realize the power of positivity, right? There's so many people that bring negativity, that bring drama, and until you experience the other side of that, which is constant positivity and a can-do spirit and a go-getter mentality, until you experience that, you don't understand how detrimental those people are and those situations are. So I would say that looking back, we've had the growth of our partnership, and like I always like to say, that the numbers don't lie, right?
They don't lie, John.
And from a relationship standpoint, I think we understand each other a lot better.
For sure.
We have really good boundaries, and we refuse to be negative. That's brought a lot of happiness to my life, and it's also made life easier working with somebody like you. And then when I look to you, Mo, you know, this podcast is so important to me, and it's like therapy, like we've talked about. And bringing somebody in like you who just you just can't fake it. The shit you say is real, and
He challenges us every week, Johnny.
yeah.
He's so competitive. He's like, I'm reading, I'm listening to more audiobooks. I'm gonna get you guys.
And I love being challenged, and I think it's an absolute blessing to have you on the show. I appreciate you on the show. I appreciate what you bring, and I think the three of us together are going to do whatever we want to do in this space, because I don't see anybody that are trying to attack the goals that we're trying to attack on this podcast. So a lot has happened in the past year.
Top 10 business, all of iTunes. That's what I've heard. What you got, Reese?
On a personal level, pretty much the same. I got an 11-year-old daughter. We've been rocking and rolling with her in school. I'm proud of the growth that she's made. I've been with the same woman for 12 years. We've been, rocking and rolling, and anybody who's been in a relationship for that long, they know it's a lot, But that's my lady. I love her to death. Just growing tighter as a family, and it's funny I'm just speaking about relationships because I think that he kind of set the tone. But it's even fun just getting to know as you become better personally, and focus on becoming better, just how the person that you're in love with, you're sleeping with every night, and who you're next to, how that becomes better. So just getting to know my lady more after 12 years has been cool. Hopefully somebody can take their journey of love, right? I know it's business and biceps, but it's like we're in lover's lane right now.
There's a lot more than that, man.
See, now, you guys done put a bunch of pressure on me because now I got to talk about rates or I'm about to get in trouble. Yeah. No, go ahead. Finish up, Reese.
But with business, a lot of people see me speaking around the country. That's the most visible thing. But we've been able to grow the Red Zone, and the Red Zone is actually a mental health and drug and alcohol treatment facility. And so me going through my personal issues, dealing with drugs and alcohol and the craziness, and me being on mental health medication, and being able to assist people now in this capacity, it is wonderful. We function in Youngstown and in Columbus. We house probably 70 guys, some guys and girls. We just do a tremendous amount when it comes to just assisting people. We have different services in schools and with adolescents and all stuff that has nothing to do with business and biceps. But in a nutshell, we've improved as a company, and I'm proud of it. Any picture you see me on, I'll always represent us. Just because I love it, and I feel that, if I have this much visibility, if somebody needs some assistance in any capacity, I want them to have the confidence to come and say, hey, I need some assistance, or my family needs some assistance, and I'll be happy to navigate them in the appropriate direction. But it was also a blessing, and I don't know how it's been happening for years. I've been trying to figure out how me and Cory can work together, just because I like him and love him as a person, like and love as a person. I like
Thanks,
how you.
Reese.
There you go. But you see somebody, you admire their discipline, you just see how they live, and if you're trying to constantly improve your life, these are the people that you want to be connected to. If you want to be successful, you got to connect yourself to successful and very disciplined people. And we started off in one space with this with the podcast, and ended up in another space, and they invited me on, and I just thought it was cool. But just like from John, from like what John was talking about, I think it's very therapeutic for me. I read a lot, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and just having a platform to share experience and do it in a real way. You hear me cuss a lot. I probably won't cuss today because I'm in front of y'all. But
I don't believe that. I think
probably not.
Well,
I might.
I think what you said, though, has everything to do with business and biceps, Reese, because you talk about your business and your biceps are way bigger than both of ours. So that kind of sucks because I'm the one that's a bodybuilder. I think, like I talked about evaluating things at the Arnold. For me, having that transition of having to restart again, this was really big because we're the bronze sponsor. It's back in the game. It's like 2 years removed from leaving the previous company. So that was really exciting for me. I mean, coming there, selling programs at age 20. Ben remembers that. So it's like, it's exciting to see what the event has happened in 30 years, and I've been there 18 out of 19, which is kind of crazy, which some of you guys are only like 20, so you feel me? I've been doing it for a while. So it's one of those things where what I love about this show, too, is all of us have grown as people quite a bit in the last year. I've seen tremendous growth from John. I mean, John, look, when business is going down, you don't want to mess with this dude, no question. But he's kept his temper at a way better level, and he is much happier. Abby, you're doing a great job. And Maurice is so humble about what he's doing, but he got 130 employees. Maurice is killing it. And what's amazing is Maurice told me this goal that he had was to send his daughter to Columbus Academy, right, Maurice?
Yeah, Columbus School for Girls.
Columbus School for Girls. So, Maurice is pulling up there with basically the highest rollers of the city. That's where their kids go. And now Maurice Claret's taking his daughter there, which is basically like a college tuition. So that was one of his goals. So I'm impressed with that, Maurice. So it's good. But what I think was cool about Business and Biceps is that, especially now having Maurice on the show, he provokes a deeper thought. There's no question. Like John and I were doing pretty good. I mean, we were still in the top 20. But it seems like since Reese has come on that it's challenged us even more, and we warrant it each week. And so what I think is cool is that there's a lot of good stories in this room, because I know a lot of you guys personally from the gym and from the other podcasts. And I think I'd love to open it up to some questions. Do you think, John?
Yeah, I would say, I'd love to hear from everybody if possible, but any questions relating to business, life, anything,
yeah,
we're ready to take them on and just give you guys the best we can.
Yeah, and then we'll weigh in, each of us, on it too. Yeah. So I think it'd be cool. Jeremy, you got the mic? So who's going to be the one that's going to break the ice? Oh, we got two takers. Our man right here from Texas.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Kevin from Houston. First off, just want to thank you guys for everything you do, man, for providing knowledge and sharing your experiences. I think I speak for the whole room when I say that we've benefited hugely from hearing from you guys, so thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
My question is in regards to my current situation, so a little background. I graduated with a civil engineering degree from UT. I went to get a normal job right after college, and about 2 years ago, right around the time Cory left Muscle Farm, started doing his own thing, I began trying to get into the fitness industry a little bit. So I started training some friends for free on the side. I started a little blog, and over the past couple years, I was able to grow that to a point where a month ago, I quit my full-time job, and now I'm doing the fitness thing full-time.
Oh yeah, that's good. What's up?
Thank you. So I have an online business. I train people in person, and I'm a coach. I'm the strength and conditioning coach at a local MMA gym. And the issue that I'm having right now is that for so long, it was such a massive goal to quit that job and do this full time. And the goal became essentially replacing my existing salary with a training salary. And so mentally, I'm kind of I feel like I'm hitting a ceiling where all I'm trying to do is hit that number, and I'm kind of feeling complacent with it. I'm having trouble seeing the next step and finding out what the next move is or how to build on what I'm currently doing. So I'd like to hear from you guys if, back when you were starting your businesses, if you kind of went through something similar and how you maybe thought outside the box to break through that wall. Thank you.
I've gone through that many times, and in general, I think when you have a goal, you always have to be ready for, okay, when I hit that goal, what's the next goal? Because that happens all the time. That happened to me. So the question I believe it always comes down to is, what do you want? So you said you train mixed martial arts fighters right now?
Yes.
Okay. So do you enjoy that? Is that something that you want to go deeper into and immerse yourself in, or are you more of just fitness, but this is cool for now?
I'd say the latter.
Okay.
But it's cool for now. Thank you. It was an opportunity that I was given kind of early on, and I was able to expand my role within the gym. And I don't have any previous mixed martial arts experience or anything. I did my first jiu-jitsu competition a couple weeks ago, but that's the extent of it. So I've enjoyed getting to learn that side of things, but I don't think I'd like to be a full-time MMA strength and conditioning coach.
Right, right. So, I mean, with that in front of you, I think being a fitness professional, the way combat athletes train versus other athletes is totally different, right? Because it's a completely, it's just all explosiveness, right? It's in, out, in, out. So I think becoming the best mixed martial arts strength training coach or something along those lines where you're challenging yourself to go into an area where your other fitness, because you said the latter, your other fitness background is going to gain more knowledge, right? So if you go back into, let's say you own a gym or whatever, if you understand the physiological needs of a combat athlete, that's going to make you even more of like an untouchable fitness professional because you understand that. So now you're adding that to your repertoire, right? It's a new tool. So I would say until you find out what it is you want next, right? That's the key, what you want next is. But until you find that out, man, be the best at what you do. Learn something you haven't learned, and it's going to only make you a better fitness professional that can offer more, and that's only going to benefit your career. You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me, this may be a little direct, but I just feel like your goals are too low. I feel like the worst thing that you can do, I personally believe, is kind of like to reach your dreams. You know what I mean? Because I think like once you reach something and you set it, and let me explain what I'm saying. I put stuff out there so far that I understand that I'm not going to be able to accomplish within the next year. I'm going to be on the journey. I'm going to hit a whole lot of stuff along the way, but the thing that I have for my life, I don't want it to be easily attainable in a year. And if you hear me talk on the podcast, or even when I was talking to him, and we were talking about what would I do, I said, hey, I'm not trying to solve a problem for Columbus, I'm trying to solve a problem for the state. Like, so I think I'm the governor in my head, and I want to solve a problem for the state. I don't need anybody's permission. So with what I'm doing, with the circumstances, with the resources I got, I just really believe. You know what I'm saying? And so with you, if I've reached something and it's only taken a year, you got to reevaluate yourself. Like, man, did I really put something out there? Like, it was very easy. It doesn't push you, it doesn't pull on you. Like, you got to get into the space where, like, fuck, it's hard to get up. Fuck, I don't feel like doing this shit. All that stuff, like, that's where you're at, chasing and fulfilling who you're ultimately supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I talk about vision boards all the time. Like, going back to the vision board and say, okay, what do I really want to be? Something that, like, really scares you. Like, damn, can I really become this? You know what I mean? And then developing plans like, okay, how do you get this? What is step one? What is step two? What is step three? Knowing that the goal that you ultimately have can't be reached in the next month or year. Like, you'll hit stuff along the way. That makes sense? Yes. Yeah, and really understand that this is your life. Like, you know, just to replace a salary isn't like your ultimate vision. You know what I'm saying? And even when you go into something to think about the money first, and I used to hear people say this shit and it sounded so cliche, like, if I make this money, no, like, what fulfills you? Yeah. Like, what makes you happy? You know what I mean? And if you figure out what makes you happy, then you can read more business books on how to monetize what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? There's other products and services and other business that you can do, but, like, if it doesn't feed your soul, if it doesn't just excite you to get up, like, I was talking to him about recovery before we got here, and I could have probably talked his ear off for 50 more minutes, you know what I'm saying? Because I was excited about my stuff, about what I did. So I would just my advice, I would say just check yourself and be like, did I really put something up here that was going to make me stretch and reach and push myself? Or did I put something up here that, okay, I've accomplished it, I've become complacent? Because the vision that you have for your life drives the discipline. And the bigger the vision, the more stuff you got to learn. The more stuff you got to learn, the more people you got to be up under. I got to go talk to him because he has something I need. I got to talk to him because he has something I need to fulfill my vision. And then it becomes like a journey. Like, what is the alchemist? You know what I'm saying? You're going on a journey to find out all the stuff that you need to find out to become who you ultimately supposed to become. And so that's just my take on it. You know, just check yourself like, man, I can accomplish this shit. This is easy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And put on, I want to be this. I want to be the best MMA trainer. Like that's what I want to be. Like I don't care who's there. Like I don't even know I don't even know none. You know what I'm saying? But who's ever there, that's where I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna work my ass off to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get up every day with the thought of fulfilling that. And that's just my personal opinion. I'll pass to Cory.
So, Kevin, when you reached this goal, did it seem like, when you said it, did it seem really far away? And then it happened kind of fast?
Yes.
Yeah, so the same thing happened to me, right? So when I moved up to Columbus, and I've been telling everybody at home, I'm gonna open a gym, and then at 20 and a half, I'm opening a gym. And so to me, I always talk about this, and I've told Rach this multiple times, like, for coming out of the coal mine, if that's as far as I ever got, to me, I already was successful. Somebody was paying me over $20 an hour to lift weights, and before I was shoveling coal. So I was like at 20, so then I had to reevaluate what this was really quick. Now, first it was just keep the lights on and get the business going, but then it was like, okay, now how do we scale this? I mean, dude, I was a kid. I tell the guys in the office, the guys in the crew, that they know so much more than I knew. That every member on my website knows way more than I knew when I opened those doors. I was just like blindly winging it, right? Straight up. And even my knowledge as a trainer at that point, I mean, it was just, it was next to nothing really compared to now. So I think that I had to do a better job, like Maurice's point is, what is feel so far? Now I couldn't have said, hey, I want to be friends with Arnold and I want to do all this stuff. No way I could even conceptualize that at that point. But I always thought like, I need to be a player in the industry. Like that, and even if I'm not, I'm telling myself I am still, right? I mean, that's the key. So it's like, I think it's working, but it's like, so it's one of those things like, I just remember thinking, all right, I went to the Arnold Classic, which once again was a really big thing for me, and I could see who was the players. And I swear to you, I thought, I got this. I'm gonna know that guy, I'm gonna be cool with him. You know, I'm talking to all these supplement companies. Like I just started to like create this narrative in my head that this is what I was meant to do. And once I started to grab onto that, then I just knew those disciplines it might take. I mean, I did personal training. A lot of people forget this, right? Rach, we did it for like 10 years. Personal training, 10, 12 years. Before a supplement was, I mean, I had some protein I tried to mix up, but that was like 2005. Like I just started to mess with it, right? Then I started having the idea about being Bill Phillips and try to do those type of things. But personal training, 7 trainers working for me, grinding multiple gyms, like a lot of that stuff we don't really talk about because I've been doing this other business at such a high level for so long. But no internet. There's no internet, you know what I mean? So it's just a whole different level of like that grind time that you get to hone your craft. So I think you need to say, this guy in the industry, whoever it is, whether it's MMA related or something, see what level they're running at and try to figure out how you can push yourself.
What do you want, right? I mean, that to simplify it all, what do you want? Do you know what you want?
Yes.
What is it?
I want to be a player in the industry. I want to
That's what I figured. That's why I said it.
I want to be an author. I want to be a speaker.
Okay, but it doesn't happen like that.
Right.
So what do you want? You want to be a player in what industry?
Fitness industry.
Okay, as a practitioner in supplement, where do you want to be? Because we got to take steps before we build the castle.
Right. I would say as both a practitioner and as a motivator and author, speaker.
That's where the reputation starts at, practitioner. Most of you guys got love for me because you know I'm a grinder in the gym, straight up. That's it.
The last thing I would say is in this industry, there's so many people doing so well who go all in. I see people with physiques that aren't even that impressive and their methodology isn't that impressive. But when they go all in and they're posting 6 times a day and they're just trying to educate and it's nonstop, you can't avoid them if you follow them on Instagram. If you're doing that, and I'm not aware of it, I'm sorry for giving you advice, but if you're not all fucking in, and everything comes from there.
Okay.
Literally, it dominated my thought. I mean, it still does. Everything, you know what I mean? Constantly. Like, training and practitioner dominates my thoughts most of the day. That's why I tweeted the other day. Training dominates my thoughts. Business pushes me mentally. And the results and the reward are just from all of the hard work. I mean, and that's what keeps it going. The results here in your story, here in Matt's story, Zeke, Cory, all these guys are here that are doing well. That's where the reward's at. So hopefully that helps, Kevin.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Appreciate
Next.
it.
I got to mic check it higher, huh? I got to go higher, Reese. Yeah. I got you. All right, who we got next? Where's Jeremy going?
You going on a marathon, Jeremy?
He took the longest road possible. Oh, the battery died. Okay, here we go. All right.
Wait, is it working? Oh, there we go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been listening to you guys ever since you started. It was kind of a nice place to start because I was starting my own thing at the same time, and it was very helpful to listen to you guys build Back's Effort Muscle to where it is today. And then, you know, with Maurice coming on the show, like, I don't know, the thoughts and that he provokes is, I mean, it's awesome. So really what I was just wondering, you know, I've seen and listened to you guys talk, like through your, like being a partnership, you know, how you make decisions, like what do you guys, or how do you make a decision? I don't know, with the addition of a third person, I was just kind of curious, like how does it work between you guys? Do you guys get on a group call or?
I make this real easy. I just say, whatever y'all want to do, I'm cool with. No, this is real serious, right? So I don't even care. Like, I come here because I want to come here. I got 130 people to worry about, 2 different offices. I enjoy coming here. So I don't care about the money. I don't care about nothing like that. If it's supposed to be right, they'll make it right. If it's wrong, it'll feel wrong. So, hey, whatever y'all want to do, I just want to be around. I want to join in. I want to do it. It'll be right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when something is right, you don't have to force it. It's right. Y'all know what I'm talking about? When something is right in anything you do in your life, you don't have to force it. Like, things you have to force into your life anywhere, or like conversations, relationships, they just don't right. Like, it's cool. I talk to him. There's no confrontation. And so you should probably talk to them too on how they make decisions, but I just show up. That's it.
What I would say is, on the flip side of that, you hear somebody in business say to you, you know, it's cool, right? A lot of business people say, okay, gain, right? That's my time to gain, right? You never win when you think like that long term. You can win short term. So when Maurice said that to Cory and myself, we immediately said, well, what's a fair compensation package? He didn't ask for it, and he wouldn't have cared if he got it offered to him or not. But that doesn't change the fact that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And if a man's putting in work, all of our time, everybody in this room, it's worth money. And to devalue someone out of generosity makes you someone that's probably not going to last long in business. So what we did is we said, this is what we want to offer you. And we got together, probably spent 2 hours on it, and we felt it was very fair. And obviously, Maurice, in the spirit of what you just said, go ahead.
I will say this, and this is like more on the spiritual side. They don't realize what they do for me, though, right? So this is a place that I can get away from work. This is a place where I can, anybody here reads a lot? Okay, so I read a lot. So those people who like to read like to talk. I love to talk because I'm always trying to show off what I read. Right? So this is a platform to show off on what I've read. I love to teach people. And then also from an accountability standpoint, like you just can't be out here fucking up because you got people who depend on you. So that value in my life, at where I'm at in my life right now, having a value of people that you're accountable to, having the value of a place where you can place your thoughts at. So podcasts live forever. You know what I'm saying? Somebody can, like, I'm a fan of people who write books because that shit lives forever. So I can put my thoughts somewhere and my words somewhere, and somebody fucking 5 years from now who may be a fan of John Fosco, Cory, myself, they can go back and plug it in because I listen to Earl Nightingale and guys who did stuff in the 60s and 70s. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to do that, that adds a different level of value to my life. And it happened to be on this platform, and I happen to love business, and I happen to love working out, but I don't think nothing happens by accident, nothing. Like the fact that I was here last year with them, I don't even think that was an accident. That's like the world, like, and I get like real spiritual and like stuff like that. I think the world shapes things the way it wants to shape things. And when you do what you're supposed to be doing and you lined up with God, I just believe like when you just connected and lined up, Like your life just kind of unfolds, and I just believe like this is a part of it. So I don't try to force anything in my life ever. Like that's where I'm at right now. Don't force nothing. If you're doing business with somebody, don't force them. But I'll let Cory talk after that.
Well, yeah, and if they're static to anything, you can feel it, right? Reach doesn't matter whether it's a relationship with your girl, with the guy, with business. You're going to feel it. It's not going to feel natural. I mean, that's just everybody knows when stuff don't feel right. Right? We try to act like it feels better, but it don't. So one thing I wanted to kind of bring up is that from decision making, Danny, like I have a really good partner in Dustin Myers at the gym, as everybody knows, and Dustin and I have been friends since high school. So we've had a relationship, since we were like 15 or 16 years old, and so that rooted in the gym. So it's easy to say, hey, we need a new treadmill. Okay, unanimous. Oh, we want the gym to be dirty and cool. Yeah, rap music. All right, it's easy. So, but I was used to operating on my own essentially in the other businesses. So this is one thing that John and I really had to work on. John is an amazing team player, right? I thought I was doing the team thing, but I actually really operate a lot by myself. I think I was just on my own. I did my own thing, social media, I built it. I got my own schedule. I rock and roll. I never lived at the corporate office. I just do my own thing and I kill it because I know I can count on me, right? That was one thing that John has helped me with a ton. He's been showing me love on stuff I've helped him with, but that really helped me quite a bit actually. He's like, G, I don't really think you was in a partnership before. He goes, you might say you had a partner, but you really didn't. You know what I mean? Straight up.
Yeah, I mean, just because we've been in businesses and had partners doesn't mean you've had functional partners,
Good
right?
partners.
It's like relationships,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just because you're in a relationship
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's functional.
Yeah.
So,
That's true. This is true.
when we came together, my outlook is simple. It just compare it to sports. A lot of people can kind of conceptualize that. And have you ever seen a team win a championship that was one guy? No, it's when people come together, there's chemistry and you rely on each other and you use dual skill sets or, a trio of skill sets. So
Great example. What I love about the podcast, Build Max Effort, there's multiple things that have come up that either of us didn't love, but we trusted the other person. Like, this is a really good one example. I only had a color scheme in the old company that worked, right? You guys are seeing it around here too. Well, so John was like, we can't just stay with orange and black. We need to do different colors in Max Effort of t-shirts, because then if somebody in Oklahoma wants to rock their colors and in Philly they want to rock their colors, yeah, Mike's got it on, I'm sure. No, whatever. No. So it's like, yeah, he's proud champion now. So it's like, and I was like, I only knew one way. It already worked, right? And it kills it. Right? And then John, on the flip side, didn't, the lifting community, max effort's like a known term, especially for all us power lifters, right? And it was open. So I don't know if he all the way understood how much I knew that it could be max effort in the cage. It could be max effort on the platform. It can be max effort in life, right? So these are things that we had to trust each other on as business that have compromised, that have killed it. You pick your battles. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Reese.
I'm always looking to teach now, I told you, all right? The biggest thing is humility.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Humility keeps you flexible. And I think that's a big thing just from a spiritual standpoint with anything in life. If you're humble enough to trust somebody, it's okay, let's try your way. If it works, it works. If it don't, we can reevaluate it.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've learned over this 2-year period, because I had the or I want to do everything or try to do everything, and then I'm just like,
Can't.
This is stupid. Why am I trying to do this? So yeah, just sitting back and letting my other business partner do what he's good at, and then I do what I'm good at. So.
Have you ever wrote down where you stop it in at?
I guess not physically.
I'm telling you, right? So through an organization with people, if you can't define where I stop and where I end at, you will always run into confusion. And if you're getting up every day and you have no clue on where he stops and where he ends at,
Hey, straight up, I told John where I wasn't good at.
absolutely.
Day one, I said,
Yeah.
dude, I'm not good at XXX. I already know it.
Right.
I need help.
And you have to know what you don't know. So, I always say if you're good at two things, that's pretty epic, right? So if you're good at two things, in the professional world, that means you need some support. So nobody's Superman, and you cannot scale anything by yourself. you're going to fall on your face, and it's going to be painful, and you're not going to have any money in your pocket, right? That's part of business.
And that pretty girl beside you ain't gonna like that.
Right.
Just kidding.
So write out some skills that you're not good at, and try to plug in some people, whether they be interns, depend on if you can afford employees or not, and plug people in and train them and put some trust in them. Micromanaging people, once you bring them on, if you're not used to managing, that's how you just push people away. I used to do that all the time, right? I'm paying you a salary, I could do anything I want. Okay, they're out the door, and I got to bring in new people, right? It doesn't work.
I don't think we don't micromanage now. We let guys go get it.
You're either going to hang yourself, right, with our support, or you're either going to ascend to the top with our support.
Yeah,
it's on you
both.
as the employee.
Okay, so Jeremy right here, I just said, Jeremy, we're going to have Business and Biceps at this place. Go figure it out. When I walked in, I walked in and saw all this action over here, and he pulled the banner down. And
I thought Run DMC was playing.
So it's just like, and Kate had by the minute set up on, she's going to do wedding planning when she graduates, so they had it set up. So, but that's the key, is like the guys that work with us, all of them, Pontius, Jake, Alex, like we just say like, hey, go get it. And then along the way, and then you're going to screw stuff up. They're going to screw stuff up when they work with you. That's the inevitable. We still screw stuff up. Everybody does. You know what I mean? So anyway, all right, next question.
First of all, Jay, like you got the Tim's on.
Thanks, bro. You already know I got it from you, Mark.
Yeah. So I want to start this question from like a training standpoint and then kind of convert it over to business.
Okay.
So I'm a junior in college. My first 2 years, we just trained at like commercial, like campus gyms. And I, like at that time, I guess thought I knew a lot about powerlifting. I now realize I knew none. But like one of the things I noticed when I trained there was like, you miss a lift or something doesn't go your way. Like the guys around me were like, oh, like, you were out late last night, or, oh, they just cleaned the bars, they're slippery, like something like that. Well, then this summer I decided I was gonna go train at Zeke's gym, like more, not really the commercial type gym I was used to, more of a hardcore training gym. And one of the first things he told me after I handed him 2 crisp 50s for the summer was, hey man, thanks for joining, but your form's absolutely terrible. Which is good. I mean, it was what I needed to hear. And so he's like, you need to lower the weight and figure out how to lift right. And so I did, and like I got a lot stronger. And then, I joined Old School. I've been going there for 6 months. Like the first week I was there, I think you called me out on like 3 different things. Like, hey man, your bench is strong, but your elbows flare out. I didn't lock out a deadlift. You're like, you need to start doing lower back extensions. Like those little things. So what I'm kind of asking is, from a business standpoint, I know you guys talked about how important it is to have like-minded people around you.
Sure.
How would you guys say it's important to seek out maybe someone who not necessarily can be a devil's advocate, but who's going to butt heads with you, who's going to let you know, hey, like you're not being as efficient as you could, or just kind of, not afraid to keep you in check and let you know when there's something you could be doing better, and not just,
I think it is. You got to have somebody that compliments you that, once again, that's not good. Like John, one of the best things that John said to me early in our kind of business relationship was, gee, just don't pigeonhole yourself in fitness. People come to me because they're looking for a workout. They don't realize I'm about to teach them a lifestyle. See, I don't tell them that up front. I got to get them into the funnel first, and then they realize, wait, okay, this reading thing, we on the podcast, we're working out early, I'm getting out of the gym, it's only 6 a.m., even when I live on campus, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm teaching these successful like habits so they can apply to whatever. And so I think it's like, when Johnny said that to me, it was like, you know what, I shouldn't just pigeonhole myself there. Even though that's where I started at, that's my love. But the podcast is allowing me, I think, to branch out past that. But I think it's absolutely important to have somebody, or at least one person around you, that's gonna like say, hey man, you're not giving yourself enough credit, or hey, you need to be more efficient in this. Or John will have subtle things. He'll say like, hey, so what's our strategy looking like on Instagram right now? Or so, like that, he's not even really calling me out. He's just mentioning it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'll do the same thing with him. So it's like, I think that those things are healthy, and you can't just have a bunch of yes guys all the time, especially as you get busier. John's seen it with all the athletes. It's terrible.
Yeah. I wouldn't say seek out somebody who's gonna, throw stones at you every time you speak. I think seek out somebody who's honest, right? Because if they're honest and your idea sucks, they're gonna tell you your idea sucks, but they'll back it up with why they believe it, and then you can have an honest debate. I mean, you really have to look for grounded people, because grounded people can have grounded discussions without getting emotions all twisted up in it. So I wouldn't look for a naysayer. I would look for a positive person who's maybe brutally honest, you know.
Well, and having that at home is huge. Like Rachel just straight tells me, right? Because she's not like, you know, at this point we've been together so long, she ain't really sweating me. You know what I mean? Like, let's face it.
She doesn't care.
I'm like, you know, I'm still like an underwear model. Let's go. And she's like,
care
whatever.
She doesn't care she doesn't care that you drive the Bentley.
Yeah, she don't care. She didn't want me to get it. So, and also like when Reese, we sent him the original like Max Effort logo, he was like, dude, this is not what people expect out of you. That was his answer. And that's what I'm glad. And
it was terrible.
It was terrible. And then John had a great idea about this artist we work with, and boom, we got Max Effort. He's our Mr. Clean, right? That's how that process works, right? We were about a week out from labels with something completely different, literally. And I mean, I think we knew it anyway. Reese texted it back so fast, my text barely hit his text. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's key to have that, absolutely. And I'll be like that for you guys. And I think that's what you guys know. I mean, I try to be nice, but I'm gonna tell you guys when I think, whether it's lifting or, hey, me and Jake Sanders had a bunch of those conversations. Like, because I love him like a lifter, and I want him to push him as a business guy. And it's like, I got to be direct. Kyle, I sent Kyle's ass home 2 days ago because he was a half hour late. I said, go home and figure it out. And then come back tomorrow, let's try it again.
Hey, it's a good thing. It's a good thing he was on time today, right?
Yeah, he was on time today. And he was like, he's got his holes in his jeans, he's making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think every individual in life needs accountability. You know what I mean? But I think it first starts. I don't seek out anybody. I seek out what I'm doing first. I put my attention towards what I'm doing, and then like what gets me there, and the people who can hold me accountable to where I'm going. Like, I think to put your energy on one person and seek them out to like help you, like, I just think that's the wrong focus. Just my opinion. I would look towards where I'm going and who helps me get here, and am I serious about getting there, and is this person assisting me in getting there? I think a lot goes to where you put your attention, and I'm not looking like me. I don't look for shit. You know what I mean? Prime example today, and my girl was mad at me, but I don't deviate from my plans. I made plans for my day, and I had to drop a car off for something, and she wanted to run to the store. I was like, no, I got stuff to do. And so she was pissed off, but I knew that would deviate me from what I was doing. And it was just me being so not boneheaded and inflexible, but just so serious about what I'm going to do that I'm making sure that I'm living the life I'm supposed to live. So I think like just going back to yourself, figuring out what you want to do, and just understanding, does this person assist me where I'm going, or do they hinder me? I think it's that, like, simplifying your life. Are you assisting me with? I'm not about to search anybody out for anything. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, you got to take your own advice.
Take my own advice, I'm sorry.
Not on that, on the microphone. All right, next.
It's halftime. Hey, yo, it's halftime.
John, it's halftime. You know, look, that NAS beat gets me excited, makes me feel like a rapper. I was gonna rap about the stocks I bought. I don't.
Okay.
Nothing rhymes with Netflix though, John.
You want to rap?
Yes.
You want to rap?
Yes. Rap for me, John.
Rap battle. Yo, 1, 2, 1, 2. I bought Netflix about 2 years ago, and I sold it, and that was stupid. So today, I feel like Cupid giving you a Valentine's gift because I rebought it a year ago, and now I'm sitting pretty like a kitty cat. Cory, what you got to say about that?
That there was way more that rhymed on that
Yes,
freestyle than I
yes.
ever expected. I mean, that was pretty impressive. You went from kitty cat to fucking.
Cory, what you think about
I do.
that? I'm sitting pretty.
I have no rebuttal, except for if you would like to get your free share of Apple Ford or Sprint, you could go to our wonderful sponsor, Robinhood, at biceps.robinhood.com. that can help you redeem right there your free share of stock. Robinhood has no trading fees. I've been in and out of
None.
I've been in and out of a bunch of stocks over the last. I've been using Robinhood for 5 months, John. Like, they just became a sponsor, but once I became aware of them, I've been using them. I moved all my shit from E-Trade. I know you moved all your shit from Scott Trade. We went straight to Robinhood, and I get to mess around with the market. I only have a couple G in there, but I like to go in and out of some stuff. And because honestly, there's no fucking fees, I don't feel bad day trading or pre-market stuff. I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's like, because I'm not paying $30 every time I trade something, John.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. And you guys starting out, well, Cory just made the point. He's not paying fees. So you can experiment with, I like this, it's simple. It's a sell point, right? So if you buy a stock and you make 15% in a week, sell that stock. Get the feel for agile investing, and then go longer term in some other stocks. You can learn without paying trading fees. And just because you listen to Business and Biceps, they will give you a free share of Apple, Sprint, or Ford. Take a hint, hint. And Cory, what is the URL one more time they go to?
It is biceps, BICEPS Robinhood, ROBINHOOD.com. I've sent this link out to all my friends, told them they must download it. They must get on board. That Robinhood is disruptive as shit. And that, it's actually, and they have cryptocurrency starting on there very soon. I've seen it and added it to my dashboard. It's pretty fucking dope, straight up.
I mean, listen, guys, if you didn't go to that URL, which I don't know why you wouldn't, download the Robinhood app and you will feel the simplicity they bring to an otherwise sometimes confusing market, which is looking at the stock market and the tickers and this and that. They simplify it. So for a new trader, for a new investor, the experience is lights out.
Awesome. Hey, John, I was going through Snapchat last night and answering some questions, and this kid had hit me with a snap and said, "Hey man, like, I love salmon, and I'm interested in using it in the diet plan, and obviously I would be shopping at Boston Sword and Tuna because they support the podcast. Like, could I eat salmon, multiple times a week?" And I said, "Yeah, motherfucker, I bought 10 pounds of salmon because I used the code BIZ, BIZ 15 on shop.bstseafood.com. Holler at my boy Mike Scola. Got me 10 pounds of salmon, and I'm eating that shit like 5 times a week now. Let's go."
You guys aren't going to find another man that gets on a boat every day at 3:30 in the morning when 25-foot waves are crashing into the Boston Harbor, dives into that harbor, grabs lobsters by the hundreds and swordfish and tuna and everything else. He grabs it with his bare hands. He throws it in the boat. He dives back down. He gets back out and he screams at the sky, "I am Mike Scola." Go to shop.bstseafood.com and you shall see me in all my glory.
Dude, you just painted Mike Scola like he's in a SpongeBob episode. Like,
maybe I did.
I mean, like, he's right. Like, I pictured like a sea of lobster swimming together as Mike's riding them at the same time. And then when he flies into the boat, he goes right to his smartphone and says, shop.bstseafood.com. I mean, you can't beat it.
Right. Wait, 15%. And after all that swimming, guys, that takes a lot of energy. This man is still going to give you a 15% discount. Cory Gregory, some people know you as G. How do the listeners redeem that discount?
Yeah, when you go to shop.bstseafood.com, you put in the promo code BIZBIS15 and get 15% off. And you must do that today, especially if we have a lot of people that are eating healthy on the podcast. Lastly, John, why, John Fosco, should they build a stack at maxeffortmuscle.com? Why, John, should they build a stack today?
Okay, first off, we have the best Max Crispy treat. Some people call things protein bars. We have a Max Crispy treat that can take the place of a meal when you're working hard and you don't have time to go out to lunch for 45 minutes. You just grab a Max Crispy treat. It tastes fantastic. You get all your nutritional needs and you're like, my God, was I just cheating? No, you were not cheating. You ate something very nutritious. And then you sip on your post-workout. Oh my God, are my muscles getting more dense as I'm sitting at my desk typing? Yes, they are. Why? Because aminos, which are in our post-workout, they build your muscle fibers. They're like building blocks. And then you say, you know what? After work, I got to go work out, but I need a little energy. And then you take a little fresh mango pre-workout and you sound like me. And then you go get PRs on every lift. And that's a stack. And you get a free t-shirt too. Any shirt you want. That's why, Cory.
I love it. I love it. Hey, here's the deal. You know what? Out of necessity, everybody is using multiple products. And I used to think, John, what in this perfect world, if you could mix and match any 3 products,
oh my God,
and you get a free t-shirt for $100. Or I'm awesome. I need to mix any 5 products. Five products and get a free t-shirt for $160. And if you could just go to this magical place at maxevermuscle.com and make that happen, it would be amazing. All right, let's go back to the show.
It's halftime. Hey yo, it's halftime.
Go Gerlach, and then we'll come back to Philly. We'll spread it out.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So, Maurice, just so you know, I was talking to Cory this morning about how much you added to the podcast. So just keep reading, keep bringing these guys philosophy because they need it, and we all need it. So appreciate that. I was wondering if you guys could speak into some just like mentors you've had over the years, whether in business or in fitness or whatever you're doing. Just speak into that. And then like how we as young guys or people that are looking to you can kind of identify similar figures and gravitate towards them.
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I would say I had some my original mentor is my grandfather. I saw the way he was lifting weights. He's the one that taught me how to lift weights, and he worked hard. And just like the way that he operated was, he was a construction guy. He came home. He was a coal miner early, then he was construction. He came home, boom, right to the basement to lift weights. Like there was no like, I'm gonna eat dinner, I'm gonna watch TV. It was like very regimented. Now, the crazy thing is, he didn't really like have a lot of knowledge about lifting. He just knew super basics, but it was the consistency I picked up early, right? So he was like my first mentor on just like consistency. Then I had other mentors, but they didn't know they was my mentors, which is kind of funny, right? So there was 2 guys in my town where I grew up, one named Kenny Dorsey and one named Bill Danoon. Bill Danoon started a sawmill company. He was I don't think he was a coal miner. He used to cut down poles and send them to the coal mine. That's how to keep the roof up, like some OG stuff. And so he decided to create a sawmill. This thing blew up to like 30 or 50 million, something crazy like that. He employs the whole town. Like everybody works at his place, right? And then there was another guy that was a coal miner, got out, started a grocery store. His grocery store blew up, and then he literally changed his family history. Every sibling now owns a grocery store. They're all paid. And at home, like, there's only room for one of everything. Go ahead, Johnny. There's only room for one of everything. So there's one guy that can own a bowling alley. There's one guy that can own a grocery store. They're going to get paid, right? One guy can drive a limo. That's just the way it works. And so it's like, so I saw these 2 coal miners or guys that worked around a coal mine that blew up these companies. And even though I knew of them, they knew me, but they didn't realize how impactful it was on me. Because I'm watching the way they operate, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this can happen, and we're back here. We're not even in this city, because I had aspirations to move away. After that, it really became the first guy that I met that knew how to do fitness. He was Jason Taylor's roommate at Akron. The football player just went in the Hall of Fame. His name was Reggie Young. Ben remembers him. Really good, sold fitness well, but wasn't very consistent. So I learned how he can move the room. Man, this guy would have 5 clients an hour for 5 hours in a row. Boom, 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 hitting them all for 30, running a roll. I mean, he was awesome. But then he wouldn't show up on Tuesday. But guess who was always there? The consistent one. So by the time Reggie kept doing that, I ended up with all his clients. But he still taught, I still grabbed some good things from him. And then since then, it's really been mostly guys that I've read, Carnegie and those type of guys. But, I really just have really witnessed when I would see somebody doing something outside the norm, I paid a lot of attention, and very detailed attention.
I never really had a male mentor. I would say on the personal side, my mother was probably the best mentor, personal mentor, female mentor I could have ever wished for. Having nothing to do with business and everything to do with kind of what matters in life. She taught me that, and these are all indirect lessons, right? By supporting me in everything I did that was positive, I believe she instilled in me confidence that was like almost unshakable. As I grew up, I used to ask her, like, is it normal to like never think you're ever gonna lose at anything? And she's like, no, John, that's not normal. That's just you. And
You think you're so sweet.
yeah. But then she would say, you are gonna do this. You are gonna do that. And of course, I failed at things, but I also succeeded at a lot of things. And I think just supporting me while teaching me in a really gentle, spiritual way, man, that laid the groundwork for a side of me that without it, I'd be in prison. Or dead, right? Thank God for her. But then if I flip it to business, I had one male mentor, and he was not a mentor. He was not aware of the fact that he was a mentor. And he simply ran a chain of gyms, and he made me understand real quick that nothing matters except for production. What have you done for me lately? It was the most brutal, harsh lesson as a 20-year-old to be told that I don't matter after I had a great achievement, and that I'm only as good as the money I'm depositing through my work in his bank account. But as brutal as it was, it taught me that, like, hey, if I take this mindset, this thick-skinned mindset into every situation, nobody can take me down. Nobody can take me down. So I had trouble with it earlier in my career because I approach people that way. It takes a special person to be able to respond to that. I learned that. But what he did for me was he made me pretty much unbreakable. You're not gonna break me down. I don't care who you are. You're not gonna break me down. And I don't know too many people like that. And the people that I do know like that are typically the people I sit next to. So.
Excuse me. Yeah. Well, early on, I had some negative mentors, and that's how I ended up in the situations with friends. Everywhere. I still believe it. I wanted to say a lot as they were talking. I still believe, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I really believe that the people that you connected to, they will basically help to propel you where you want to go, or they'll keep you in the same situation. But I kind of like focus on 3 areas and people who can help me to feed in 3 different areas. In the first area, I'm pretty sure you all have heard it before, mind, body, spirit. So I think books are the greatest thing, audio books and regular books. And I always say it because, somebody has taken a tremendous amount of time to organize thoughts and to give them to you in such a fashion where you can just digest them and just basically take somebody's best thinking. You know what I'm saying? And so from my mind, I'll read a book from somebody who either something I want to learn about, who I think will be influential, or from just a great individual. I just love reading biographies because you're telling the person's story. You're telling the person's life and how they reacted or how they persevered through something or how they became super successful. And so obviously, if that's where I want to go, I need to figure out how to take that mentality. From a body standpoint, to be honest, I probably look at Cory. Like sometimes like this motherfucker is literally every day, all day, working out, dialed in, body weight goes up, body weight comes down, he does it at will. And one of the hardest things for me when it comes to discipline is food. Like I got like an emotional tie to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like the fucking Burger King. You know what I'm saying? I just love to decorate burgers and sandwiches and
I love to decorate burgers.
I'm
hey,
serious.
Make sure you pull that quote, Jeremy.
I'm like an American dude who loves burgers and French fries. Not healthy for you, but I'm like super American when it comes to that. And but you know, you look to people, but then also like me looking just like even with John, you know, you look at people and say, okay, there's other people who I have, like, so y'all don't even get this part of it, just me staying sober. Like me not drinking, not drugging, not me staying by myself. Like that's super important to be the best person I can be to my family, people who depend upon me. And like you may not see those people. They may not be like big mentors and everywhere else, but just people who keep their sobriety, keep their heads on straight, and people who do their thing. So that's a tremendous amount of people. But from a spiritual standpoint, I go back to reading. I just think the best thing you can do for yourself. I mentioned it on one of the podcasts. You know, I had a chance to meet Warren Buffett one-on-one. And what he said is that I read every day for 4 hours. I met Les Wexner. He's the richest guy in Ohio. Said the same thing. I read a book a week. And, you know, the people around you, you know, I'm a huge fan of Walt Disney, too. I like dreamers, you know what I'm saying? People who put themselves out there and want to create the world. And I think, like, Disney World is the best fucking thing ever. Because somebody
Another quote.
Yeah.
Disney World's the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah, excuse the language.
No, I just think it's awesome because the quotes are all over the place, right?
Yeah. So even in our office, I stole Walt Disney quotes, right? Because, like, how fun is it for you to dream the life that you want to live? Like, instead of living day to day, I hate you, you hate me, office gossip, like, just to stay in an active space of dreaming and accomplishment and pursuit and doing right by people while you're doing it. Like, y'all feel where I'm coming from? Like, to stay in that space, positive, dreaming, pursuit, for somebody to create such a world that the whole world enjoys. Like, this dude is no different than me and you. He was just somebody who dreamed and believed and got that. And so I think you get that from books and people who cared enough. Like, you try to write a book right now, you would have to put so much thought, emotion, your spirit, and everything into it. But I think there's a transference that goes into there that if you read it and you digest it the right way, you get that perspective. And I don't know, I'm like moving into a different direction, but I believe that you can get people on the side by side, but I think to build the skill, to build the understanding, I think you just read from people who are great. And, you know, that's just my personal belief.
Cool. Next.
We're kind of talking a lot about, like, each and every one of us that we have goals and we have to set them for our future and stuff because we're all, for the most part, young and starting our careers. You guys have all established yourselves and have legacies right now. Like, G, I know you've been talking a lot about you're coming up on your 40th and you want to be ripped, shredded, Jack, you know, Arnold, bronze sponsor. You have a lot going on right now. John, I don't know a lot about you, but I know that just from the crew, from G, everybody, I know you're like the business guy. Like, the podcasts I've listened to, I'm like, oh shit, here's John Fosco. Like, he definitely knows what he's talking about business. You've established yourself in the business world. And then Maurice, I came to Ohio State. My family, we don't really watch college sports. It's like the Eagles and the Philly sports.
Yeah,
we watch Penn State wrestling, but that's about it. But when Christmas rolled around, my dad was like, get me the red 97 Bosa or the 13. Like, you know what I mean? So
hell yeah.
You've established yourself. You're Maurice Claret. So I guess what I'm kind of thinking is you guys are talking about look to the future, set that goal. Like, what's your legacy? Where do you want to see yourselves, like, in 10 years when you think, you know, like, who was Maurice Claret, who was John Fosco, Cory G?
You know what's so crazy is, Mike, as you'll learn, so much can happen in 1 year. It's hard to even grasp. Like, I've never had, like, a 5-year plan. Because it's like, I mean, my world got twisted upside down 1 year, right? I was doing something completely different. And so it's wild. And if I think about kind of the way my life has been split, there's the, like, pre-supplements Cory, you know, that was straight training in the gym. Then there's, like, the supplement version. It's like 2 different lives. And now it's like kind of, you know, back in with the direct to customer thing and working online, and like this is almost like my 3rd type of life, I guess, in the business is what it feels like. And so for me, that's why I can only really conceptualize what I can try to accomplish in 12 months. And it is cliche to write, you know, literally on the 1st of the year, I write down, it's not a resolution, it's what I'm about to accomplish. Sometimes I carry them over year to year, and sometimes I don't. Most of the time I get them all. To be honest, I might carry 1 over 2, but I think it's like once things start to roll a little bit, you can start to realize like, oh shit, this is working. Now what's really possible? And I think I had a limiting ceiling on myself, partly because of my internal blueprint, which we talked a little bit about on the last episode, because of where I'm from, how I grew up. I never knew anybody that really made big paper or was out in the media or anything like that. So all this stuff is like new, you know? So I think that I'm really trying to push myself to open my brain to where it can really go. I see the names that we're sitting beside on these iTunes top 10, right? These are people I've consumed their information, I respect, we've had them on our show, done whatever, and I know the numbers they're doing. And so it's like, it's still a little weird to see myself in that area, to be honest. I'm getting used to it, but I need to get better at pushing myself to think that I belong there. So I think that part of it is, do you really believe you can do what Mikey Sklar wants to do? You know, and hopefully you get, which obviously a lot of our stuff's tied to the gym, the confidence of what your guys' schedule is, and as you're walking out of there as a 20-year-old man at 6 in the morning, you already got that accomplished and you can be focused about your day. Like, you carry these principles into life, bro. It's a wrap. It's whatever y'all put your mind to. I proved it, because, dude, I was not supposed to win. Dude, when I was in that trailer, I'm getting out there, I'm pushing the snow off of it because it's going to cave in. Mom can barely pay the rent. Dude, no one was believing me. They would have never, to be able to even think about where it's went to, it'd be hard to dream it up. So it just goes to show that back to goal setting, you got to reach high, and then you just got to head down, and then figure out what your legacy is going to be. That's it.
Yeah, when I think you talking about legacy, right? In the short term, kind of like Cory mentioned, business is a game, and even in the long term, it's a game. It always will be, and I'll always play it, and I believe I'll always play it good. That's not where I want to focus my legacy on. I believe that there's got to be a deeper purpose, and right now we have a media platform. So if you can affect people positively, inspire people, motivate people, now we're talking, right? That's not just making money and doing whatever and, you know, big house, fancy car. That's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It doesn't last in terms of in here. So what I would like to do long term from a legacy standpoint is build this media platform. And we have another business we just launched called Podcast Influencer. And it's not about that, but what it's about is as we continue to build our influence in media, I believe we and I can continue to motivate people, guide people, and help people. That might be one person, that might be 100,000 people. But what I want is when my time is done and I leave this place, I want to leave a little piece of myself, right? Whether it's a quote or more than that, with a lot of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I believe lives on. And if I could achieve that steep goal, and like what he was talking about, when you're setting goals, you got to make steep goals. That's a steep fucking goal. But I believe that I can do that, so I will do that, and that's where my legacy will end.
Well, I think that's why we're all so passionate about this platform and this business, which it turned into a business, but the podcast, it started out of just to give back. Because like Zach Matheny, for instance, he's like, gee, I've been doing your stuff since, doing your workout since 8th grade. Now he's like 23. Like, there's been people that have been consuming my material, now our material, for a long time. And you know that is impacting how they operate. Dude, that's the biggest compliment ever. To like, hey, I would like to model part of my life after what you do, because it looks like it's working.
And he did recently with that career choice he made.
Absolutely. And so that's the benefit. So like, when people they get twisted about this or that, at the end of the day, I'd like to do this stuff because it's fun for me. I like to see you guys succeed. When people get all messed up, and it's like, I'm not getting, you know, I'm just getting that back from it. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else. I just like it. It's fun for me because I already got a chance to live it. Now I want you guys to. That's it. You know? Go ahead, Reese.
For me personally, one, I think in 10 years, I want to make sure that I've tried to at least set the foundation for my daughter. I got one child, just to make sure that she has every opportunity to become successful, hopefully through what I do on a regular basis that, that works itself out. But I'm serious. This is what, I don't even know, today's the 1st, March 1st. I'll say it on this podcast. I just have a vision. I'm in the mental health and alcohol and drug world. And obviously I went to prison, came out of prison, so I know what reentry is all about. We're connected to a bunch of kids who don't have the appropriate access to education when I'm talking about inner city kids and their behavioral issues, and also recovery. So in my small way, I hope that the Red Zone can play a role in helping to solve some of the state's problems. With so many people dying from opioids, you had about 10,000 to 14,000 people, whatever it was, last year who had died from opioids and different drug usage, things that directly affected my life, and hoping that we can teach people how to connect and build a continuum of care for people who suffer from that and get their lives back together. Because I've also been on the other end from an academic standpoint, and I think Cory just said it. With the media and with social media now, you have so many different platforms to deliver information. Like before, it was like the whole world moved the same way. I put on the TV and everybody's influenced by the same thing. So I hope that by having different platforms and being intentional about the information we're delivering, that you can help people to grow. And how do you, considering the circumstance of so many people having barriers to getting educated appropriately or understanding about entrepreneurship like this, like I can bring John and Cory and we can say, hey, these kids who may not understand entrepreneurship, can we help to build something to give these kids possibility? Because at the end of the day, that's all everybody in here is doing. Can I take something from you all? Can your words move me, inspire me, and influence me? And can they redirect my life? You know what I'm saying? So we're just talking about different populations of people delivering information. Same thing with recovery, same thing with guys coming from prison. And I can hope in 10 years that, I can say, hey, I played a role in helping somebody to make an impact in those spaces. And so for me, that's what gets me up. It gets me moving. From that, everything else comes from that. And I think that, John was saying it to you. I think like when you're younger, man, listen to me, I wanted to be on MTV Cribs, drive a Bentley, all that stuff, I think everybody goes to that phase. You want to have sex with a bunch of women. Like, it goes through everybody's mind, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the male vain part of us all. But that's the part, like, you got to tame
Maurice
that.
just says what a lot of you guys are thinking, but y'all wouldn't say it. No, go ahead.
But I think that's the ego, that's our ego, and like that's American, that's machoism. I got 50 beautiful women. What is my name? Mr. Fantasy Man, Dan Bazarian, whatever his name is, right? I shoot guns.
That's why he got 100 million followers, right?
Like, so everybody lives through this man because he shoot up stuff, he have sex with women, he spend a bunch of money, but it's fantasy land for most people.
Fake.
Yeah, it's fake. It has no substance to it. And I know it sounds very corny and cliche, but when you can wake up and you're happy and you're doing something and you adding value to other people's lives. I know that sounds very cliche because so many people use it on the internet, but when you can really assist people, and that's all Cory is doing, that's all John is doing, you're assisting people with the gift that you've been blessed with. I sound like a teacher right now, like a corny teacher.
No. Well, I think also part of my whole thing I've talked about, my dialogue of legacy is about the family tree changing, about
Yes.
I didn't get my first personal development book till I was 20 years old, 19, 20, right? And my kids are here at a personal development, essentially seminar, which is what this is right now, right? At 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, whether they realize it or not. Exposing the next generation to what really makes it happen. Seeing the way, and Gary Vee's talked about this before, I've heard kids talk about, I want to be a YouTuber. Well, that's a job now. But some people wouldn't recognize that. But I know people making millions of dollars doing that job. Yeah. And my brain is open-minded enough to understand that if AG wants to be a YouTuber, let's go. Let's start chopping up the videos.
He's got a fire page already.
Yeah. He got 7,000 followers on Musical.ly. I mean, whatever. But so it's one of those things where I think just showing and them seeing what's normal. My normal and their normal is two vastly different things of how I grew up, and that was my whole main goal. And so hopefully that legacy, internally, family-wise, can spread from there, and then the rest of the stuff with the platform's huge. So there you go. Hopefully that was long-winded answer.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Next.
First of all, I would just like to say that like with each new episode, you guys seem to like raise the bar. So I would just like to see if you guys can weigh in on your mental preparation on how to bring that A game and push the ceiling every new episode.
Our production is so vast. Hey, true story. Kate, who has an amazing schedule for her and Jeremy setting this up, goes, "What are you guys going to talk about?" This was about 10 minutes before we started. And I said, "We don't know yet." And she goes, "Man, is that the opposite of me?" I said, "Yeah, but we are like freestyle rappers." No, I think that we inherently know that each person is doing their due diligence in their own way to bring it on the episode. We usually go over the topic about 10 minutes before we start. And honestly, I have no clue half the time what John or Maurice is going to say. And a lot of times it sparks things that I haven't even thought about in a long time. And I think that's why it's so fresh, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll grab one topic, and so the listener experience is authentic. If we plan out what we're going to say, it's not going to sound authentic. So we just go, right? And with increasing chart position, increasing success, whether we talk about this or not, there's increasing healthy pressure to bring your A game. And there's also, healthy competition, because I want to challenge his mind and I want him to challenge my mind. It's not about winning or losing. We're a team. That ranking is where it's at. We're all together. But if we challenge each other, that's how we're going to get the most out of each other. So I think the reason, and I really appreciate that compliment, that the bar's been getting raised is because we've added a new element, and the new element brings A game, and when he brings A game, I bring, in my mind, my A+ game, and I know he thinks that too. It's a healthy competition, and we all reap the benefits together.
I haven't listened to music in the car since Reese came on, because every second I got open to the gym, home from the gym, lunging, anything, even when I'm working outside, which doesn't happen very often. But whatever, I've got my headphones in, I'm trying to catch up, because I know Reese is driving back and forth to Youngstown. He's getting all kinds of time, and I know he's pushing. And I've never heard, when John and I first became business partners, he really didn't consume, and he reads Art of War, which is like 1,000 pages long. So I don't want you to think he didn't, but he's consumed
Constantly.
Yeah, he's consumed way more material too. So it really has just elevated everything, which has been good. And when I get riffing on something, I want to crush it, because I know as soon as I hand it off, that's what's going to happen. And I think that's why we're sitting in the top 10 right now. And Reese called me the other day. He's like, "Yo, look, we're spitting real stuff from like." Yeah. Our three backgrounds, no one can rip this off. It's just not possible, So I really think that's why, if we just keep staying to our truths and pushing each other, I think we can be the top podcast, straight up.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Like life is constant development. I always say, once guys are done with college or once they're done with high school, they just give up. They go to church and they're like, okay, this is my preparation, but from the time we're born, it's first grade, second grade, third grade, and then we just lose the ability or just the wantonness to learn after. And I think that I found that in prison. I thank God I found it in prison, to where I just knew the importance of learning, and I got good habits from reading all the time. But now you're here, and this is fun. It's fun to grow. It's fun to learn. It's fun to learn new things. It's fun to learn and to apply it and to be like, oh, this shit worked. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes this fun. And of course, I'm telling them right now, I want to kick ass on this thing. I'm competitive, and I'm not knocking them or anybody else, but fuck, I want to be. But
you're really talking shit.
Yeah, I want to be one. I want to be number one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the dude who say, fuck, I want to be number 2. I want to be in the top 5. Fuck that shit. I want to be the best. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you wrote it on your cleats in high school, didn't you?
Dead serious. I wrote it on my shoes. I want to be the best in the world. Even you saying, I wouldn't even use that language. I don't want to be one of the guys. That's too easy. I can be one of the guys half-assed. If everybody just makes up their mind and say, I'm going to take the number 1 spot and dominate the space, man, it just drives you. I don't want the red, I'm trying to solve a fucking problem. You're trying to make money out your industry. Big difference. So our intention, I was riding down Broad Street and I told Cory, I said, Cory, I don't give a fuck who's up there. We talking about real stuff. I'm telling you, I listened to Denzel Washington. I said on the podcast, he was getting interviewed by Charlie Rose. He said it flat out. He said, man, from the specific comes the universal. As long as you stick to your specific stuff, things that go on in your life, people can connect to it. It doesn't matter black, white, old, young, suburban, urban, that shit doesn't matter. Like you stick to truths and you stick to adding value and speaking truths and you become more vulnerable. Man, they're trying to sell you some shit. You know what I'm saying? They saying cliche shit, trying to market. Like everybody, don't y'all hate the people like on the internet who just like say like the same cliche shit? Or it might be the same one.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to hate on nobody because like that's not. I don't even want to call nothing.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, this ain't coming out like I'm talking shit on anybody, but we're better.
Yeah. I listen to their stuff, like, so I'm curious, right? So you compete against people. I seen some guys
Like Lewis House, right? I think he sucks. I think he's terrible.
John, that's mean. Come on.
I think the guy's terrible. Thank you. Thank you. Terrible. Get him off the charts.
Jeez.
Hey, well, look, when he's on my team, win, lose, or draw, I'm with him. Hey, look, I will say that. if we roll with the same
He's
team.
from Columbus, isn't he? Okay.
John's always trying to go after people.
But like this, I'll just say this. I put like this. I just feel, and this is real stuff. When you have life experience and you've lived it and you survived through it and you thrive through it and you've hurt and you got real stuff. I've spoken to over 300 places myself. This has nothing to do with them. I know what fucking life is like. I know what I can talk about. I know what I can tell people. I know what I've been through. And if you've been through the struggle, you just don't respect people talking bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, I've really been through life and I've really learned from life and I'm really giving you something that you can take and say, okay, I can apply this to my life and it's beneficial. And that's all I'm saying. And I just want to, hopefully through this platform, I can give something that somebody can say, okay, if I can't use it right now, somewhere along my journey, you know, I heard something from somebody that was passionate. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, when people speaking, it's real. Like they speaking from the soul. Hopefully I can bring my soul to this thing every week and it just adds value to everybody here.
Word. Next.
I'm with you, John.
Hey, you guys. I got to keep the peace. Good, Zeke.
What's up, guys? What's up, buddy?
The battery died again.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, buddy?
First off, I want to say, obviously everybody's touched on it, but how awesome since Maurice Claret, who I'm not ashamed to admit that last year when you were on here, it was the first time I ever fangirled in my life. Because you were like my childhood idol back when I was watching football. You know what I mean? It was like right at that point in life. But what I realized is in my perception of listening to the podcast, because you guys put out so much content now, I would listen to it every day, is that your authenticity, because I thought these two guys were really authentic, but has made them so much more authentic, because listening to their podcast, how many episodes you guys got, like 60, 70 something? Something like that? Well, the 50 to 60 previous ones, you know, I thought I got to know Cory and John, but since your addition, it's brought out like stories that you didn't, you know, like stories that like, even though I listened to 50 some odd episodes, I didn't know about John and I didn't know about Cory, even though I talked to Cory probably 3, 4, 5 times a week. You know what I mean? So I think that's really awesome how, you know, adding one dynamic like that, I really think the podcast truly can't be stopped now.
There's no way.
But in light of that, you know, vulnerability and authenticity, I got somewhat of a more vulnerable question, which is why I kind of waded a little deeper in the pack to ask it, because it would kind of set the tone in a little, you know, not in more of a business direction, but more like a family direction, because I have a daughter who's going to be 2 in April, and you know, the hustle is not a problem with me. Like, I'd be happy. I've stayed, when I was starting my gym, I own a gym in Wheeling, West Virginia called The Real Gym. When I was starting my gym, I was staying up for like 3, 4 days at a time, getting it together, because I was like Cory. I was kind of like, you know, I was a lone wolf, and I was basically taking care of everything myself. And then last year, up to this point, with my daughter, she couldn't even walk yet, so it's kind of easy, but now she's like, she's like a real human being now, you know what I mean? Like she yeah, you know what I mean? Like she's running around. She just said her first F word the other day, and she's the funniest, coolest human being. I wouldn't rather be around another soul at all. So it's kind of like, my question is based on like the balance, because I'm still, in the super financial stressful, part. I'm 25. I do a little bit of work for an oil and gas company during the day, and then the gym. And then so most of the time, like I'll get my daughter, Mia is her name. I'll get her ready for school, daycare. And, but then a lot of times when I get home, she'll be asleep, so it's like, you kind of feel like you're missing out a little bit, because the entrepreneurship thing is a little bit of a selfish, it's selfish, and especially with self-development too, because I'm real big into that. I've been always really big into reading and things like that, so I'll make sure that I do that. But I think it's one of those things, just being a dad, it's like you don't ever feel like you're like doing enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll go and say it. I totally understand what you're talking about, but I was away from my daughter for 4 years. When I went to prison, she was born, she was 3 weeks, and then I was away from her. So that was like an extreme separation. But you have to know in your heart. And so are you still with the mother of your child?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Louder.
it's a thing called, I'm pretty sure you heard, sacrifice. But you have to be able to articulate that my hours spent away from here, like I can't enjoy everything that everybody else has enjoyed because I'm not trying to build a regular life. Like I've seen people who I want to chase. I've seen people who I want to be like, and these guys' lives aren't regular. So you can't have everything, right? There's fuck all that balance shit. There's no balance. If you want to
I agree with that. I get that question all the time.
If you want to be super successful, your ass has to spend a tremendous amount of time developing that. And so you need a woman who has some understanding that say he won't be here for everything, but if you make your life intentional, you'll schedule things. So now I purposely schedule time with my family. And I'll say, let me schedule this, let you know that I'm here, let me do this, be present while I'm doing it. Because my girl, I used to come in, she'd be like, oh, fuck, like, where you been? And I come in, I'll be on my phone. I'll be physically present, but I'll be on my phone. But now, okay, let me set my phone down, let me go to the movies, let me do something, let me be here. But also, she has to, like, communication, she has to understand I'm building a dream. And so I'm not trying to live I'm not trying to live, I don't want to call it a regular life, but I don't want to be like everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the way that the world is set up, the 9-to-5 world, if that's the world that you want to live in, you can have everything, but then there's certain things that you regret because you didn't chase. And so while you got your youth, while you got your energy, I was 34. Fuck that, I'm going to chase. And bring your people along with the chase. Allow them to experience your dreams with you. If my daughter didn't have homework, she'd be right here with me. She's living the dream. This is what I'm building for you. Well, he talked about legacy. His kids will inherit this one day. You can't give your kids a job, but you can give your kid max effort if you own it. You feel where I'm coming from?
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not knocking anybody who has a job because I give people jobs and our people come to work with us, right? But you have to realize you're building something to give to somebody. I'm building something and I'm turning myself into something so my family can have something so they don't have to start right here, because if you don't do it, your daughter going to do it. And if you leave it to her, she'll be dependent on some, I don't want to say a piece of shit, man, but it's a lot of dudes pieces of shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is serious. And so you have to be able to put yourself out there and to provide for her and bring opportunity to her. And, hey, baby, I gotta pay for her education. I got to pay for the environment that she's in, so I can't be around you. I can't watch fucking Family Feud.
Yeah.
I'm serious. So I'm dead serious. You got to look at it just like this. I'm dead serious. And she got to believe you in her soul that this is our knight in shining armor, and he's going to build for our family. And my lady know right now, I'm not fucking around. I'm building for our family. And I'm bringing something to the world, and then you come home, you bring that same thing. That's just my advice, but I'm pretty sure they dealt with it on some level. Did that help?
Yeah, for sure, 100%, yeah.
I think you said something extremely important. You said, the whole entrepreneurial thing is selfish. It is selfish. It's always going to be selfish. That's why the game's not fair, right? Don't expect it to be fair. It's never going to be fair. And I don't have a daughter. I don't have any kids. So I cannot relate to that. But what I would say is, coming back to what do you want? Only you know if you have a hole in your stomach because you're not seeing your daughter. And you know and I know those years aren't coming back. So I agree with Mo from like the entrepreneurial beast mode, go get it. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that, but only you know if you have a hole in your stomach. And if you do, man, this game is for very few people. A lot of people want to get involved in it. So I would just evaluate what you want more. Obviously, you have to pay the bills. Obviously, you have to support your family. But man, if you love that little girl and you want to spend 8 hours a day with her and you know, those are her childhood memories, if that's more important to you than building a castle, nobody in this room can tell you you're wrong. You got to make that decision. Yeah.
Can I say this? I would advise grind, build your business up so you can free your time. You hear where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
If I grind and sacrifice 2, 3, and 4, Cory's time is free. You know, RH, you missed from 2 to 5. You missed all like these great things or the things that happen. I don't even remember what my little girl's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not in a bad way, but I just don't remember. There's so much that takes places. Shitty diapers, throw-ups, trips, vacations,
Yeah.
arguments with your lady. Like, you'll forget a lot of that stuff, but you'll hold on to some of it. This is just real stories, right? Mm-hmm. But when you grind your ass off, like John, look at these. He's bought his time. You grind your ass off to put a system in place that frees your time up from an entrepreneur. And then you can have multiple years of having all the time you want with your family and doing what you want to do. But one thing you can't avoid is that grind.
The only thing I would say is that I don't know, and I'm not speaking to you in particular, if all entrepreneurs are created equally in terms of being capable of making something out of nothing, writing the rule book, and being successful. I agree with what you say in theory, but if you were to take, I think, 50 people, make them entrepreneurs, I don't know if more than 3 to 5 would succeed, right? You have to have a drive like you have. You have to have a drive like I have, Cory, of course, but a lot of people don't have that. You know, I had some partners early on in my business career, really smart motherfucker, really smart people. They couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. It just broke them. Now, I'm not going to sit there and call them names, right? Although at that time I did, which was wrong. But
sure you did.
But you know, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I try not to at least believe that everyone's got the entrepreneur gene. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take.
Here's the deal with me, Zeke, is that I was selling this dream to my girl that if I put the time in, like Reese said, eventually it would turn over, right? It's not guaranteed to nobody, though. So my thing is I had to make, and it's probably the thing we argue about at all. We don't really argue about nothing. I mean, that's the thing that we would, if we have a discussion about, it's like, she's trying to pull me this way. And it's not that I want to go that way. It's just I got the sickness because I never feel like it's enough, just to your point, right? But I remember things that I wish my parents could. My parents were always working because they're just trying to pay the bills. They miss games. They miss things. Like, I just know there's like certain things that I knew I wanted. So I don't miss ball games unless I'm gone out of town. And I really don't travel that much anymore. I did in the old business. And one of the first things I said to John when I started Max Effort was, I have to create a boundary to have better balance. We're still busy as hell, but I'm not, you know, I can work out of the house, I can work in the office, I can be at things if I need to be. If I need to take my kids to lunch, I can. It's the thing we've been talking about. Cory, they can only be taking the lunch for a couple more years. You need to start making time for it. Like, that's why, like, having a selfless woman that supports you, that also can say, like, all right, I get it, it works. Like you've been telling me, and she supported. I mean, Rachel was there painting the walls of the first gym. You know, she had a boyfriend that was already paid, and she picked me. You know, I mean, he wasn't built like me, but whatever, you know. Like, hey, she was just hoping it worked out. But hey, but whatever. It's just, it's one of those things where But I was selling that, and then eventually, not only did she buy in, even though she didn't all the way understand it all the time. That's the thing, but she believed in me, right? And even like her family, like they thought I was talking crazy. But then once you keep delivering, I mean, you can't argue with it. Just is what it is. Then I'm taking them on vacation with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, Ben, right? So it's like one of the Ben. So it's one of those things where, but it does feel like a pipe dream, and it does take that. We had so many times that I wanted to quit, and she was like, "We're already committed at this point." Like, you know, and I never felt like a victim. I always said, "You got to push like a victor, man." Like, I'm making this for myself and my family. And I think that there is times I'm like, man, I miss that. Look, every kid grows up wanting a little something different from their dad or their mom, even if they're awesome, right? We all three have amazing mothers, right? No doubt.
Yes.
And then, you know, we all three had some interesting father relationships.
No comment on the father part.
Yeah. So, but it's one of those things where there's always going to be something. So Alex, Madeline, Annan are going to have something. Dad was busy. I know they're going to say that. But I didn't miss sporting events. They know I love them. They know I'm pushing for them. When Alex got to read the mindset manual, that was one of the coolest things for me, because it took me a year to put that together and to be able to articulate those thoughts. I would never be able to tell them that. So I want all three of them to read it. Like, if nothing else, I wrote it for them, just to understand me. That was important.
I mean, but are we looking at it the wrong way? What did I lose versus what am I gaining? You know, you don't have to have the perspective like, oh, I'm going, I'm missing everything. It can be I'm going and look what I'm bringing. You know what I mean? So it's all like your perspective on a situation. And
only you know what that answer is.
Yeah, I mean, like so often, but like I try to get away from like group thinking. You know, they call it the lemon-like mentality, constantly thinking about everybody else. Oh, if I'm going to miss this. Well, maybe you don't miss it. But is it a bad thing not to miss it? You know what I mean? What am I doing? What possibilities have you brought into your family's life from not being around? You know what I'm saying? What opportunities have you brought? You know what I'm saying? If I would have stayed around, I would have never put my daughter in the schooling that she's in. I would have never had the money to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it like being gone automatically means you don't care. Like you like that the premise is wrong. Like, oh, you're gone so you don't care. No, I'm going because I'm going to do something.
I work harder because I care.
Yes, right. Like, okay, if I sit here with you, we can accomplish what we want to accomplish as a family. But if I go and I pursue and I challenge, I open doors for my family. I open up opportunities for my family. Now, if you're out there messing around and BS, and they can call you out on it, but that's like you're a man, you're a provider, you're a creator, you're helping to bring opportunities to people. So I try to look things different, like be optimistic. Like I don't want to make myself sad. Like, oh, I'm gone, my daughter. All right, I'm in prison for 4 years. I'm about to get better. I'm not by her. If I was by her and I was out on the streets, I would be worse. I was in a bad cycle. I'm putting myself somewhere to get better, to provide more for my family. So I wouldn't look at it like that. Just have a conversation with your girl and say, okay, like this, like, I don't know, people just accept too many thoughts in their lives. I'm just accept, like, oh, there's a thought. It's out here. I'm going to just accept it. It's not yours. You know what I mean? It's not yours. That's like, I say it all the time, like that's what the book is about. So as a man think and speak, so shall he become. Reality is not words. Reality is your thoughts. Your thoughts are reality. It's a formation. Thought, you speak it over your life, you behave, you're disciplined, you go get what you want. That's life. You know, life ain't just a bunch of random thoughts from everybody else. So as a man think and speak, so shall he become. They spoke this into existence. We're going to start business in biceps. Okay, I want to go to the fucking spot. I go to the spot. I find the directions. I get there. Like life is a thought away. That's life. You create the life that you live. You don't have to accept nothing. Like nothing. Everything is created. That's what. I think that's the biggest thing I'm trying to get through the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Everything is created. You create everything. A person thought this turf here. They thought the chairs in here. Just how they like. Life is like that on a bigger scale. The woman who created the plans. Life is, what do I want? What do I think? What do I believe is possible? And from the belief comes your discipline. From the discipline comes the simplicity. From the simplicity, you're removing all the distractions, and the only thing that matters is you getting where you got to go. That's it. It's not even complicated. You want to become better at something, just eliminate the distractions, eliminate everything else. This is what I'm focused on. And this is how it developed. And like your life may look different than mine because you don't have the same goals, desire, and drive. And that's the biggest thing. So what comes up? I get frustrated. What do? I bitch. People complain when they stop thinking. Oh, I don't know what to deal with my emotions, right? So what do? Let me get high. Let me get drunk. Let me go out with the friends. Let me go out to happy hour. No, that doesn't. That deters you from where the fuck you're supposed to be going. And then when you like what you do, when you finally get a hold of yourself, oh shit starts to happen. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the story about you and your little girl. Where am I trying to take my family? Y'all two go in two different places. So the daughter problem may be his problem. It's not your problem. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. Hopefully it made sense. Yeah, it does, for sure. That's how I think, though. I think the shit right.
Good. Yeah, I still get home sometimes and I'll wake her up if I'm. That's the selfish entrepreneur in me. When baby mama's not looking, I'll just act like she woke up just so I can hang out with her for a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Gonna get another one? Oh, jeez.
Here you go, Kyle.
So over like the past 2 years, Cory, like I've got to know you more of a boss, but now lately more of as a father figure. And like over the past 2 years, I've thought about like what made you think before you met Rachel, like I want to provide this for my kids and myself also, my family. Like what made you like first realize that?
I was tired of being poor, straight up. I just was tired. I was mad that I lived in a trailer. I didn't like the way things were happening in the family, and I was just like, got this idea one day and said, who's going to change it? I have to. That's it. I made my mind up probably when I was 15 or 16. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. And then once I knew the vehicle was fitness, and because it helped people, I knew it was rooted in a positive manner. I was like, well, this is it. Now I'm going to drive this as hard as I can. And then I just thought, as I was shoveling that coal, that, well, Zoolander wasn't out yet, so no one knew that existed, right? I'm the original Zoolander, motherfuckers. So I was like thinking, no one's going to have this story, so it should inspire people, and that it will give me, I think if I can create enough, buzz, that I could have a true kind of voice to help more people. And so, when I was speaking that to Rachel, obviously she was buying into it and supporting it, and it was like, and it just sounded like crazy talk, but I believed it forever. I just believed that what my mom made in a year, I would make in a month. I just believed, I used to just tell myself all the time, like, I'm just meant to do big things. I don't know where it came from. I just kept telling myself, because once again, I was speaking it into reality. Like I always tell people, when I would go and speak at colleges, every now and again, I would be like, look, on Ohio State, you could walk around and find 10 guys stronger than me at least. 10 guys that look better than me at least. But I still smoke them all the time. Doesn't matter. Because of all the stuff that I put together in the disciplines and the belief and the faith, and I'm not scared to take risks. And I failed at things too, but you're just learning. Like a lot of people were just scared to go get it because they're afraid if it don't work. Honestly, if only 2 of you guys showed up today, which I was a little nervous about because it was the gym's representing big, but I just knew it didn't matter. We're still going to kill it and still going to be on the top 10, and people are still going to listen to it because of the way we're going to deliver it. So, like, I just think that once I understood what I really wanted, nobody could tell me shit. That's why I tell you all the time, Kyle, like, you're the only one that's going to hold you back. Like, you used to not be very good at picture taking. Now you're good at it. Now the only person that holds you back is you. You can be as good as you want to be. You could be great, or you could not do it at all. It's really up to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's really up to everybody. Doesn't matter how old you are. Like, I just wasn't, like, going to give in, no matter what. That's why the day when I got up and told Rach, like, I'm just done today with MP, I mean, I was a little nervous, but I just was confident in my ability at that point. That there was enough people that I had given some type of, like, I had affected to some degree that I thought they would support what I did next. Because I got up every day trying to add value to their life. Like, the funny thing is, almost everybody in this room probably knows about me from free Twitter workouts. Because I knew no one was working out that hard. And I was putting out the dopest Twitter workouts every day for 8 years for free before I asked anybody to buy anything. Now, when they would go to buy their protein, I would hope they would choose me, but I couldn't know that. Now, until I started charging, now I know how many people were actually paying for it. But at the end of the day, I just think I had to figure out what I really wanted. I had to make my mind up that I wasn't going to give in, because it would have been really easy multiple times to stay in that coal mine. I was making $1,500 a week. I was good at it. It was natural. It's 4 generations. Like, I mean, I could have made $80,000 a year at home and had a decent life, no question. So it's like, it was like hard for me to say, no, stop this and go pursue it. That's the scary part. Everybody's scared. I just wasn't that scared. That's it. Boom. Anybody else? Oh, Cory, let's go. With the fresh chucks.
Hey guys, so over the last couple years, I think probably the biggest progress I've made has been like my increase in confidence in myself. But with that being said, the biggest thing holding me back from like the next steps in the process is still self-confidence, just from prior chapters of my life and things I went through in terms of, you know, my views of myself and what other people thought of me or whatever it may be. Does that ever go away? Does that ever go away?
Jeremy's trying.
Does that ever go away, or does it get better, or is it something I'm going to battle with forever, or what are your thoughts on just that whole?
I think nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. It's up to you to make it happen, and you got to really ask yourself, and you probably know the answers. Why am I battling this, right? Why am I battling this, right? Once you get to the bottom of it, you got to fight that fucking thing. You got to fight it, because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. There's no reason why anybody in this room shouldn't walk around with self-confidence, you know, unless you're a scumbag, unless you're lying, cheating, stealing. We all should be confident in ourselves. Doesn't matter if we're fat, skinny, ripped. It doesn't matter. So you got to find out why, and you got to be honest with yourself, and you got to keep working on it until you just say, "Fuck that." What is it getting you? What is it getting you to continue to be holding yourself back with this? It's fucking with your shit. And what it's doing is it's holding back your potential. I mean, I don't know you well, but I know you enough. And dude, you're like a fucking great guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're a great guy. So self-confidence is something that nobody can give to you. It's never going to happen, but you have to find out why you don't. Can I ask you why you think you don't have it?
Honestly, I think it's just something that's been ingrained in my mind since I was young. Just like, I mean, everyone grew up playing sports, but just ever since I was like 4 years old, thinking back from grade school, middle school, high school, you know, always trying to get better, do more, have more results, never taking any time to recognize like the victories or what you did well, only recognizing the shit you did wrong. And I think like maybe 20 years of that is what I think compounded into even.
So it's never good enough. Right? What you do is never good enough. And I know people that are very close to me that suffer from that, and you have to. You know, it's like any relationship, right? If you're hard on an employee or a friend, you got to show them love when they do good things, right? So you got to have that relationship with yourself. So when you accomplish something at work, you know, you got to show yourself some love too. So that's a habit that maybe you can implement. That'll help you. But ultimately, if there's something you haven't spoken about that's from your childhood, you got to fight that fucking thing. You got to win it. And then you got to start, in my opinion, implementing some new habits, because from what I know of you and from what Cory's spoken, you are a great dude. So.
Yeah, my person, just from hearing you, I just believe that you attach your self-confidence from what you do. Like who you are and what you do is two different things. And so the fact that when I hear you talk, you start talking about accomplishments, right? And so you think that the accomplishments validate who you are. And so you understanding what you value, first off, like as a man, as an individual, like what is it that I value, and does my life line up to that? Like I'll give you an example. So me, based upon my self-confidence, I'm honest, I'm a diligent, I'm a hard worker, I'm persistent, I'm a good friend to people, I tell you the truth, like characteristic stuff. That's how like I get my self-confidence.
I don't hear football. I don't hear football.
Nothing I do, right? I don't give a fuck about what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because what you do is an illusion, that's perception. The Course in Miracles all talks about perception and perspective is flawed, right? It brings limitations, it brings judgment, all that other shit, right? But if you root who you are, and excuse me, fucking air conditioner was going off. If you root, or if your self-confidence and self-esteem and who you are is rooted in who you are, and the things that you can control, and the way that you treat people, and stuff that has nothing to do with things, then you're moving in life from a different perspective. That makes sense? You're in a whole different place. Like you're like, and like a lot of people, like you're validating yourself off of what I do or what I had or what I'd accomplish. Like me, I'm free because I don't give a fuck. I am who I am. Like I don't even care about football. Like football is football. Fuck it. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm an honest guy. I'm a good person. Like even when I cuss, I don't speak like malice over people. I'm just expressing myself. It's like those are the only words I can express it, because that's how I feel, and like I'm free from that. Like I can be free to everybody in here, and I can walk out of here and be free, and I can go home and be free, and I'm happy because like what I have doesn't mean nothing. Like I'm happy to have it, and I'm happy I can do for myself, but that doesn't make me who I am. And I'm telling you, once you get there and say, okay, who am I? Like, do I have integrity? Yes. And somewhere in your head, you're attaching like other people, these imaginary people, and what they feel about you, what they think about you. No offense to them, but fuck them. It's not about them. You know what I'm saying? Or what somebody may think. Your confidence is yourself. Your confidence is the stuff that you can deliver every day. Your confidence is the stuff that you can control. And based on my values and how I live my life, am I true to these? If you're true to them, that's who you are. I can present myself to him. Like I can present myself to the woman and everybody in here. And it's you, and they dealing with you. And that, like, that's where everything, like, you understand what I'm saying? That's where everything is at, and the stuff that you can control and who you are. And fuck, like, okay, he got a Bentley, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make me less of Maurice Claret. No, we friends. I don't care what he has. I don't care what he's accomplished. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I mean that from the heart. It just doesn't matter.
Hey, Maurice goes, I'm going to park over here. I want to see you roll by because you're my homie.
Yeah. I was happy for him. I wanted to see him roll off. It was fun to watch him. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's fun. Like, my friend is having success. It's fun to watch. It doesn't minimize who I am. You know what I'm saying? But I'm free because I don't attach who I am to a thing. And, like, when I'm not, like, so if he, like, if I don't care about my shoes, I don't care what type of shoes he has on or what car he has, nothing. I don't care. Bye. I see you. Hopefully that helped. Like, hopefully just, like, this is the stuff I'm talking about, like, real stuff. Like, when you leave from here, like, damn, like, what do I really think of myself? Like John was telling you, why do I think like that? Oh, because I value things, and my perception and my identity is in things and what I've accomplished. That's not it. That is all worldly stuff. Like, it comes down to who you are as an individual and how you keep your word to this guy and how you operate. And that's the stuff that matters in life. Like when y'all see Cory, I'll be like, oh, Cory's a good dude, not because he got a Bentley, but because what? I can trust this motherfucker. Like, that's why people like Cory, because they be like, I can trust him. And why can you trust him? You can't trust him because he has a Bentley. You can't trust him because he has max effort. You can't trust him. No, the motherfucker wakes up every day. He delivers every day. He gives good stuff every day. He's honest. When I look at him, that's the person. People buy trust. You know what I'm saying? But you build trust off of character. That's the only thing you own is your character and the choices you make inside of all your moments. Like, that's the only thing we own is just our choices. That's it. And what did you do inside that moment? But I'll riff on something else, but I'll let Cory go.
Hey,
I love this shit, I'm telling you.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about Reese trusting me. So Reese had been back in Ohio for a little while, and he was doing really well speaking engagements, right? So he rolled out to the crib. I won't tell you how much money it was, but he said, hey, you hold this for me for a little while? He said, I'm driving out here in the country to give my dude, like, he trusted me with a sizable amount of money because, you know, one, I didn't necessarily need it, but it was just like, from where Reese is from the street mentality, from that, for Reese to come out there and be like, man, this, I forget what he said, but it was some funny ass shit when he brought
I always cuss too.
But Cory, I think you're just too hard on yourself. I know you personally, and where you've come from when you come to the gym has been light years. You just opened your first facility. You know, the way the dialogue we had, you had every possible thing pretty much crushed. There was literally no risk. I told Cory, like, you already got all your clients committed for 3 months. Your rent's paid for 10 months. You've already, declined your schedule so you could train clients. I was like, the only thing that could go wrong is if it doesn't work and your butt hurt. Everything else matches up. So really, it's like the confidence, all the stuff that you do all the things that we're talking about. All of them, right? So to John's point, there might be something you need to dig up and knock out. I think that maybe not take yourself so serious. A good example on lifting, like I started trying to coach you a little differently because the other way wasn't working, because you put too much pressure on yourself. I can't say, Cory, I need this number right now. I say, Cory, let's have some fun with this today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you put too much pressure on yourself. I've seen it in the gym. And so it's probably spilling over into this type of stuff too. At the end of the day, like, you have belief, it's working, and you just got to keep pushing yourself not to be just so serious and so much pressure on you. And I don't know if you had family members that expected a lot, or if that's just something you've come, with yourself over time. But like, I just think that you should expect a level, but just take that pressure cooker off a little bit, man. You're killing it right now.
Have a little fun.
Yeah.
Start enjoying life a little more.
Yeah, for sure. We got time for one more, I think. I mean, it's 2 hours, so I figure we probably should cut it off at that.
Apologize.
No, I think it's good. All right, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, hey, I really don't have a question. I know this podcast is kind of geared toward the younger guys. Just want to let you guys know, at 32, I'm 34 now, I really feel like this podcast saved my life, kind of gave me purpose and passion. So, I mean, Cory, I identified with you, grew up in a trailer, parents divorced. I mean, just when I first heard your story, it was like, wow. John, talked to you once or twice, you may not remember, but my father was addicted to pain medication. Maurice, football and weightlifting, kind of where you came from. What I love about that is it is an equal playing field. When I got in the football field, it didn't matter what house or trailer I lived in. When I hop in the weight room, it doesn't matter what my parents' last name is or how much money. So, Mindset Manual, first book I've ever read in my life from front to back. March 8th of last year, wife knocks on the door, and my father hit a semi head-on collision, passed away. Believe it was drug inflicted. The first thing I thought about was the Mindset Manual. It gave me comfort about daily perspective. So, when I saw you going live today, anytime I get a chance to be around you, it's a win.
Thanks, brother.
And in 2 years, no business background, called in on a show, asked for some advice, opened up my own gym in less than 10 months, cash rolled everything.
It's great.
Monthly nuts, when I heard that, I know nothing about business, but still work full time. But yeah, thankful for Kevin's question tonight, Zeke's question. It all makes sense to me. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. But just at the end of the day, know that you guys are doing the right thing. There's not enough money for the content you guys put out. It's priceless.
Thanks, Matt. That's awesome.
Yeah. I just want to say I really appreciate you just being vulnerable in a big room like this and not giving a fuck, you know what I'm saying? And just expressing yourself, because that's real shit right there. And that's what we try to do, right? So you don't know how much it means to me, and I assume us, to hear what you said.
Absolutely.
Because like, we're just a couple guys who think we know shit, right? Well, I don't know. But to hear that from you means more than you know. I'm very sorry that you lost your father, but you know what, man? Cory went through that, and sometimes, there's a lot of therapeutic things that come from that, and just know that he sees what you're doing, and you're going against the grain. You're talking about developing your business and your mind, and you're clearly strong enough to be vulnerable. So he's proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. So thank you.
Job, man.
Thank you.
Hey, do we want to take a couple more? Anybody else? You guys good? Good? 2 hours? All right. Hey, last thoughts? Reese, close it up.
Oh, last thoughts, man. One, and I don't say this in a small way, thank you all for coming here. And I know it sounds so cliche, but like for somebody to say, hey, I'm about to go spend a couple hours with you all out of my day, I don't even like take that lightly. You all can be at home in your beds on TV, or you can be in a more comfortable chair or eating dinner or something like that. But I appreciate that, because I understand just the value of somebody just wanting to hear what you have to say. And I hope that something I said tonight did something to somebody, encouraged them, supported them, or just helped them look at something different. So,
go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is what we do and what you guys are here to consume, I think it's really cool, because he brought up Dan Bilzerian earlier, and like, that's what our society looks at as cool, and that's fucking pathetic. And we're a couple guys who, for all intents and purposes, are alpha males, and we're talking about spirituality, and we're talking about developing minds, and we're talking about things that aren't cool to talk about. But to see the support and to have all you guys come out and share these conversations with us is special, because to us, this is what it's all about. And I think our society doesn't support a lot of this, but to see you guys supporting us means a lot to me.
Yeah, same here. The vulnerability that we're trying to display, that you guys are the questions, and in a room like this, that's tough to do. I think that, like, I can speak for these two guys. Like, we're fucking pumped to do this thing every week. We love it. We do. Like, we do a lot of cool. We've all been fortunate to do a lot of cool shit and meet the coolest people or whatever. But honestly, I get up with a different fire in my stomach to do this, which has it has monetary value now, but it didn't. We didn't start it for that reason. We started it for that reason, and that reason, and that reason, and that reason. You feel me? So I just want to close it up with, we appreciate it, and I think as a room,
yes,
you guys should answer the question.
Yes.
Can the podcast be stopped? The
podcast can't be stopped!